It is the night of January 10th, 49 BC. A Roman general stands at the edge of a small river in northern Italy. Behind him, one of the most battle-hardened armies in the history of the world. Ahead of him, a line drawn in the ground by Roman law. A line that no general was permitted to cross with his army under any circumstances for any reason. Crossing it was not simply illegal. It was an automatic declaration of war against the Roman state. It was treason. It was punishable by death. He crosses it anyway. In that moment, the Roman Republic, which has governed the most powerful civilization on earth for nearly 5 centuries, begins to die. Not from an invasion, not from a plague, not from economic collapse, from one man, one army, one river. This is 49 BC. The year the point of no return became a phrase the world would never forget. By the end of this video, you will understand why a single river crossing changed the course of Western civilization forever. You will learn why the Rubicon existed, what it represented, and why Roman law treated crossing it as the ultimate act of treason. You will learn what drove a general who had spent a decade winning wars for Rome to turn his army against the very state he served. You will learn why the most powerful military in the ancient world, the army of Rome itself, ran away without firing a single arrow. You will learn what Caesar said in the moment he crossed, 3 words that became the most famous statement of inevitable consequence in human history. And you will understand why, when people today say someone has crossed the Rubicon, they are describing a moment that began on a riverbank in northern Italy on a cold January night in 49 BC. 49, the year a general made a decision that could not be unmade. To understand why crossing the Rubicon mattered, you must first understand what the Rubicon was. The Rubicon is not an impressive river. It is small, shallow, unremarkable, a minor waterway running through the flat plains of northern Italy. In any other context, it would be completely forgettable. But the Rubicon is not any other river. It is a boundary. The Roman Republic has a law, one of its most fundamental, that no general may bring an armed legion across the Rubicon into Italy proper. The law exists for a specific reason, to prevent any military commander from using his army to seize political power in Rome. The army belongs to the state. The moment a general brings his army south of the Rubicon, he is no longer serving the state. He is threatening it. The penalty for crossing with an army is immediate. The general is stripped of his command, declared an enemy of Rome, and can be killed on sight. In January 49 BC, Julius Caesar is standing on the wrong side of that river, and he has just been ordered to lay down his command. Julius Caesar arrives at the Rubicon in January 49 BC as the most successful military commander Rome has produced in a generation. For 9 years he has been governor of Gaul, the vast territory that now comprises modern France, Belgium, and parts of Switzerland and Germany. In those 9 years, he has fought and won a series of campaigns that expanded Roman territory dramatically, defeated dozens of tribal confederacies, and accumulated wealth and loyal soldiers on a scale that no Roman general before him has matched. He has also accumulated enemies. In Rome, the political situation has been deteriorating for years. The alliance between Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus, the 3 most powerful men in the Republic, the so-called First Triumvirate, has collapsed. Crassus is dead, killed in a disastrous campaign against the Parthians. Pompey, once Caesar's ally and son-in-law, has shifted his allegiance to the Senate faction that opposes Caesar. The Senate, led by Caesar's political enemies, has passed a resolution. Caesar must disband his army and return to Rome as a private citizen before a specific date. If he does not, he will be declared an enemy of the state. Caesar understands exactly what this means. A private citizen in Rome has no legal protection from prosecution. His enemies will bring charges against him for his conduct during his time as governor, for the wars he fought, for the political deals he made. He will be prosecuted, convicted, and destroyed. The Senate has given him a choice: surrender everything or become a criminal. Caesar chooses a third option. To understand why Caesar's choice is so shocking, you must understand what the Rubicon law actually represented. The Roman Republic is built on a fundamental fear, the fear of one-man rule. Rome had been a kingdom once, centuries earlier, and had expelled its kings in 509 BC with a violence and finality that left a permanent mark on Roman political culture. The army is the most dangerous instrument of power in the ancient world. Whoever controls the legions controls everything. And so the law separating military commanders from the city of Rome is not a technicality. It is the keystone of the entire republican system. The Rubicon is, in a very real sense, the line between the republic and its destruction. When Caesar stands at that river in January 49 BC, he knows all of this. He is not an uneducated man stumbling into a legal technicality. He is one of the most sophisticated political minds of his generation. He knows exactly what the river means. He knows exactly what crossing it will do. He has spent days at the riverbank, according to ancient sources, weighing the decision. He has sent messages to Rome. He has waited for responses that did not come with the terms he needed. And then, on the night of January 10th, he makes his decision. He turns to his officers and speaks 3 words. Alea iacta est. The die is cast. Caesar crosses the Rubicon at night with the 13th Legion. The crossing itself is not dramatic in the military sense. The river is shallow. There is no opposing army waiting on the other side. No battle is fought at the Rubicon. Caesar simply walks his soldiers across a small river in the dark. But what happens next moves with a speed that Rome cannot comprehend. Caesar does not wait. He does not stop to consolidate his position at the river. He moves south immediately toward Rome with his army, and the news of what he has done travels faster than the Senate can respond. The reaction in Rome is panic. The consuls flee the city. Pompey, the man who was supposed to defend Rome against Caesar, declares that Rome cannot be held and retreats south toward the port of Brundisium, where he plans to cross to Greece and regroup. Senators abandon their posts. The treasury is left unguarded, in such haste that Pompey reportedly has to prevent the flight of officials who were about to leave without even taking the state funds. Rome, the capital of the most powerful empire in the ancient world, empties before Caesar fires a single arrow. This is not cowardice on Pompey's part. It is a rational military calculation. He needs time and distance to assemble a force capable of challenging Caesar. But the optics of the retreat are devastating. The most powerful man in Rome, the general who was supposed to stop Caesar, has run away, and Caesar has not yet reached the city. Caesar's march south is less a military campaign than a demonstration of what happens when momentum becomes unstoppable. Town after town surrenders without resistance. The soldiers Caesar encounters along the way, many of them conscripts with no particular loyalty to the Senate faction, join him rather than fight him. His army grows as it moves south. By the time he reaches Rome, the political situation has already been decided without a major battle being fought. This is the part of the Rubicon story that history tends to underemphasize. The crossing itself is famous. What is less discussed is how completely it worked, how thoroughly Caesar's gamble paid off in the immediate term. Caesar enters Rome in March 49 BC. He meets almost no resistance. He raids the treasury, the funds Pompey had failed to take with him. He begins installing his own allies in political positions. He is, for all practical purposes, the ruler of Rome within weeks of crossing a small river in northern Italy. The speed of it is disorienting even to modern historians. A man who was legally a criminal on January 10th is the de facto ruler of the Roman world by spring. But Caesar is not finished. Pompey is still alive. Pompey still has an army. And the civil war that the Rubicon crossing has begun will last for years and consume the lives of thousands of soldiers across the Mediterranean world. Caesar wins that war. He defeats Pompey in Greece. He pursues Pompey to Egypt, where Pompey is murdered before Caesar arrives. He fights campaigns in Africa and Spain against the remaining Pompeian forces. By 44 BC, Caesar has made himself dictator for life. And you already know what happens next, because if you have watched our video on the number 44, you know how this story ends. The phrase crossing the Rubicon enters the permanent vocabulary of human decision-making for a specific reason. It captures something true about the nature of irreversible choices. Caesar's Rubicon is the most consequential example of this in recorded history. But it is consequential not simply because of what Caesar did, it is consequential because of what his crossing revealed about the Roman Republic. The republic that fled when Caesar crossed was already failing. The institutions that were supposed to prevent exactly this moment had been weakening for decades. The Senate was corrupt. The consulship was politicized. The alliance between powerful men had replaced genuine democratic governance. The system that was supposed to make a Caesar impossible had instead made a Caesar inevitable. Caesar did not break the republic by crossing the Rubicon. He revealed that it was already broken. The river was not a wall, it was a test, and the republic failed it. This is why 49 BC matters beyond the biography of one man. Caesar crossing the Rubicon is not the story of a criminal act. It is the story of a system that had lost the ability to enforce its own rules against the most powerful person subject to them, and what happens when that person notices. The civil war that follows the Rubicon crossing reshapes the Mediterranean world permanently. Caesar's victory leads directly to his assassination in 44 BC, which you know if you have watched our video on that number. His assassination leads to another civil war. That civil war ends with his adopted son Octavian, Augustus, becoming the first emperor of Rome. The republic that Caesar's Rubicon crossing began to end is officially dead within 20 years of the crossing. The empire that replaces it lasts in various forms for another 15 centuries. The language spoken across that empire, Latin, becomes the root of French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, and Romanian. The legal system developed under that empire becomes the foundation of most modern European law. The political structures, the architectural forms, the literary traditions, all of it flows through Rome, and Rome flows through Caesar, and Caesar flows through a cold January night on the bank of a small river. The world you live in is downstream of the Rubicon. Here is what 49 BC actually was. Not simply a military decision, not simply a political gamble. It was the moment a man looked at a line drawn by 400 years of law and tradition and decided that the law no longer applied to him and was right. Caesar at the Rubicon is uncomfortable because he is not simply a villain. He is a man who identified correctly that the system he was supposed to submit to had already ceased to function as it was designed. The Senate that ordered him to disarm was not a legitimate governing body acting in the public interest. It was a faction of his political enemies using the mechanisms of the Republic as a weapon against him. He was not wrong about that, and the fact that he was not wrong makes the Rubicon crossing one of the most morally complicated moments in ancient history. But the consequences of being right in that specific way were devastating. Because the move that saved Caesar from his enemies also destroyed the institutional framework that, however imperfectly, had kept Rome from becoming a monarchy for 500 years. Caesar crossed the Rubicon to save himself. In doing so, he ended the Republic. The die was cast. It could not be uncast. Alea iacta est, 3 words spoken on a riverbank in January 49 BC. The most famous statement of irreversibility in human history, spoken by the man who understood better than anyone what he was making irreversible. He crossed. The world changed. And the river, small, shallow, unremarkable, became the word we still use today when we mean the point after which nothing can be the same. 49 BC, the year a general crossed a river and ended a republic that had stood for 5 centuries. Caesar knew what he was doing. He knew the law. He knew the consequences. He stood at that river and chose anyway, and everything that followed, the civil war, the dictatorship, the assassination, the empire, the 15 centuries of Roman imperial history, all of it begins with one man, one army, one river, one night. If this story made you think, leave a comment. Was Caesar a criminal who destroyed the Republic, or a man who simply exposed what the Republic had already become? Subscribe to the Vault of Numbers. Every week, one number, one story history forgot to tell you. The next number in the vault? 480? A king took 300 men to a narrow mountain pass. He knew they would not come back. He went anyway. The vault remains open.